The Holy Gospel according to Mark. As Jesus taught, he said, "Beware of the scribes, who like to walk around in long robes and be greeted with respect in the marketplaces, and have the best seats in the synagogues and places of honour at the banquets. They devour widows' houses, and for the sake of appearances say long prayers. They will receive the greater condemnation." He sat down opposite the treasury and watched the crowd putting money into the treasury. Many rich people put in large sums. A poor widow came and put in 2 small copper coins, which are worth a penny. Then he called his disciples and said to them, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all those who are contributing to the treasury. For all of them have contributed out of their abundance, but she, out of her poverty, has put in everything she had, all she had to live on." The Gospel of the Lord. Please be seated. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen. So I'm just grateful that the Gospel said that the scribes were bad because they said long prayers. If it had said because they preached long sermons, I would have been too embarrassed to stand up this morning. But given all the rest that's happening this morning, I want to try, mind you, to keep it relatively short. But no guarantee of that. So no refunds and no exchanges. So okay, it's stewardship time, and the 3-year lectionary gives us the widow's mite today. I mean, come on. Thank you, Jesus. It's stewardship time, and the Gospel reading has the poor widow putting money into the treasury. Yes! Couldn't have designed it better myself, but would you look at the Gospel reading as a whole? Because there's 2 parts to it, and that's not happenstance. There's 2 parts to it for a reason. They're bookends. They complement each other. So before I end by hammering home a good old-fashioned traditional stewardship sermon, let's look at those differences. In the first part, the scribes are the bad guys. Now, the scribes are a class of educated people, men. In a time when very few could read or write, they could read or write. In a time when most math was done in your head as what used to be called mental arithmetic, these folks knew a spreadsheet and a ledger. So the scribes became the people who could be trusted with balancing spreadsheets and reading and writing on behalf of the temple authorities. And even before the temple, on behalf of the people of God. So, although we hear about scribes in the New Testament, you can look back to Deuteronomy and 2 Kings, and scribes are mentioned then too. But after the exile, when the people of God came back out of exile in Babylon and reclaimed the promised land, and then became deeply focused on the law of Moses, scribes really came into their own. They were movers and shakers. They were bigwigs in society. And they started to lord it over everyone else. And all of the retired pastors in the congregation, you know what it's like. The best seats in the house, people saying hello to you, especially when you've got the collar on. You know, that could easily go to your head. Look at what the scribes did. They wore elaborate robes. There's more than a hint of being ostentatious in the language in the gospel today. And they got the best seats in the synagogue. There's actually a particular Greek word used there. It's the seat next to the ark in which the scrolls, the law of Moses, was kept. So it was the best seat in the synagogue, and it faced the congregation. So everyone saw those scribes, and they were accustomed to getting the best seats at the banquet. And again, there's another particular Greek word that's used there. It means the first and the best reclining couches. Because, of course, they didn't sit at tables back then. They reclined on pillows. So the best reclining couches at the banquet, they got them. That goes to your head. Obviously, not every scribe, just like not every pastor is arrogant and rude. Just a few. Very small number, and none of them here. And definitely not me. But a goodly number were, and they became, well, scribes had a certain reputation for haughtiness. And nobody really knows what it means by devouring widows' houses, but widows were poor and unprotected, and some of the lowest folks on the social ladder, and so it could simply be that the scribes, being literate and good bookkeepers, maybe succumbed to the temptation of, rather than protecting widows, as the Old Testament and New Testament tells them that they ought to, maybe they had a few transactions under the counter, off the books, and maybe they developed a reputation for stealing from widows what was not theirs to take. Who knows? But that's the context of the first half of the Gospel reading today. And the second half couldn't be a more stark contrast. From society's sort of powerful intelligentsia, the movers and the shakers, the people with power and influence and prestige, you go all the way down the ladder to the bottom rung of the ladder, and just above children, there are widows. So Jesus is sitting somewhere in the temple. The language is a little fuzzy in the New Testament. We're not quite sure what to make of it. The chances are, by treasury, Jesus is talking about, Mark is talking about Jesus sitting in the courtyard of the women, one of the outer courtyards of the temple in Jerusalem, and scattered around there were a number of sort of bowls shaped like trumpets. And the tradition was to put your offering into those trumpet-shaped bowls. And Jesus isn't casually watching. The Greek word there for watching really means deeply taking it all in, is one way of putting it. He's not just glancing and thinking, oh, there's a widow. No, he's watching intently, taking in everything that's there to be seen. Quick time check. Doing well. So, Jesus notices the widow. She's putting in practically nothing. The word for copper coin, I think it's translated in English as copper coin, is a word that really, before coins were really popular, it described a sort of sliver of metal. You know, that if you had a piece of metal and it was worth something, if you just took a shaving off of it, that's what this coin was. It was worth about 1/16 of a day's wage to a labourer. Okay, so that's you're talking about just 1 day's wage, 1/16 of that, and not a day's wage for a mover and shaker, but for a labourer. It's almost worthless. It's almost worthless. And yet, that's what captures Jesus' attention, and dare I suggest, Jesus' heart. Because he knows that that's all she has. Do you remember the episode of Seinfeld where George keeps giving a tip and nobody notices the tip? And he wants people to notice. There's a tip jar everywhere he goes, and as soon as he drops some money in it, the person serving him looks away, and it bothers George. Because he doesn't just want to give to the server, he wants the server to see him give and be impressed by what he's giving. The episode actually ends with him trying to have a do-over. So he reaches into the tip jar to get the money out to put it back in, and that's when he gets caught. No more calzones for George. And we can fall into that trap of wanting to be seen, of wanting people to recognize such great generosity. There was nothing to be impressed about with this widow. I almost imagine her, and please believe me, I'm reading stuff into the text here, but I almost imagine her looking around to make sure no one can see as she puts these worthless, almost worthless coins in. She maybe went home that day, and again, it's pure conjecture, believe me. She maybe went home that day deeply embarrassed that was all she gave. To her dying day, she may have been upset that all she could give was a sliver of a piece of metal, 1/16th of a day's wage. But Jesus noticed and knew her. All that she had to live on, she gave. Do you see now why those two parts of the gospel go together? Yes, the second part with the widow's mite is grist to the mill for any stewardship sermon. But do you see why the first part is so important? Do you see why they go together, hand in glove? The powerful, the mover and shaker, the ostentatious show of wealth and influence and prestige, and the widow giving all that she had, freely, willingly, gracefully, all that she had. But that's typical of the gospel, isn't it? I mean, think of it. Story after story, account after account of God's heart being warmed by the powerless. The list could be endless, but it won't be. The hemorrhaging woman who had nothing but blood to give, who had been conned by every quack in existence, and who hadn't not just got better, but had actually got worse over the years, had nothing to give except the trust that made her touch the hem of Jesus' garment. The woman at the well, who came at midday under the heat of the blistering sun because her reputation was so bad that she couldn't come and draw water from the well in the cool of the morning like everyone else. And Jesus knew her. Oh, you've had 7 husbands and the one you're with now isn't your husband, Jesus says. That always gets a chuckle when it's read out in the gospel reading. And Jesus loves her. And she goes home and says, I met a man at the well who knows everything about me. And he loved me. The call of the disciples. They're fishermen for the love of Pete, pun intended. And hey, I've got lots of friends who are fishermen. I like fishermen. But they're not exactly the most influential people in society, are they? And yet, the first stop for Jesus in calling the people who he's going to spend the next 3 years with and trust his gospel to are fishermen. And then at the end of Jesus' earthly life, who is it in Jesus' dying moments that puts his entire life into Jesus' hands? A thief on a cross. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. That's a motley crew, isn't it? And that's just a sample. Just happens to be what I scribbled down on my post-it note to remind me. There's not a lot of scribes entering Jesus' heart. But there's a whole lot of powerless men and women who are closer to the heart of God than any could possibly dare to imagine. Stewardship sermon. Buckle up. The last 2 minutes. People often say to me, Ken, they say to me, Ken, could you make the sermon as short as you can? But the next in line is people who say, could you make it relevant? Well, there's a lot of powerless people around here. I hope it's relevant. There's a lot of people around here who desire the love of God in Christ Jesus. I hope it's relevant. There's a lot of people here who are dying in sin and loneliness, and I hope that the presence of God and His love in Christ Jesus is relevant. But it's stewardship time, and it's the widow's mite, and I can't help myself. The stewardship committee would run me out of Dodge on the next stagecoach if I didn't say something. Isn't that right? And I would deserve it. So, in my devotion this week, available on Facebook, it can be emailed to you, it's on the website. It's there every single week. Sorry, it's a different one every single week. I pointed out that this is the coming together of a whole lot of things. The season of Advent and the Feast of Christmas is just around the corner. The Step Up Stewardship campaign that Heather spoke about is not just around the corner, it's here, it's now. The Sarasota season, that's not easy to say by the way, the Sarasota season is just around the corner. In fact, we've got the start of it now. And the new vision that was shared just a handful of weeks ago, it's up and running, we're living into it. So here's my stewardship questions to you. They're rhetorical, so you don't have to shout out the answer. How am I using my God-given talents and gifts? If someone stole my check register, and there's probably some people here who won't know what the heck a check register is. If someone logged into my computer and looked at my bank balance statement, looking through it, could they tell that I love St. Armands Key Lutheran Church? They'll see all the bills that come in, they'll see the ways we treat ourselves, they'll see what we're capable of. Would that stranger know? Are my priorities godly and faith-filled? We all have limited time and talent and treasure. How do we prioritize? If being a Christian was declared illegal tomorrow, does enough evidence exist to convict you? If Christianity were outlawed tomorrow, would you be arrested? And if you were arrested, is there enough evidence that you are a Christian to lock you up? Never mind checkbook. If an alien were to come down, and I mean alien, take me to your leader, alien. If an alien were to come down in a spaceship and look at your calendar, would they know by looking at your calendar that faith is central to your life? And would they know that this place, or wherever you worship regularly, would they know that it was the core of who you are, just by looking at your calendar? And if all the answer to that is yes, have you taken all the steps available to make sure that that continues even after you're called home? Through legacy gifts and conversations with your planner and your lawyer. Those are real questions to ask. Real questions to ask as this congregation moves into its next 50 years. Real questions to ask as ministry grows in this place. Real questions to ask as now that we're staffed for growth and staffed for the future, and we ask you to step up in regular giving so that bills get paid. Regular giving so we don't have to come begging. Regular giving for the mundane stuff like insurance and payroll and toilet roll. End of stewardship sermon. Oh, end of sermon. The widow teaches us that everyone can do something. That everything is noticed by the only one it matters notices. Loved by the only one it matters that we're loved by. All that she had, she gave. All that she had to live on. And we are called upon to give from such abundance. And we are called upon to give of our time and talents. And we are called upon to keep this beautiful place and awesome ministries going. From a group of good-looking people like you. Truly, I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all those who are contributing to the treasury. All of them contributed out of her abundance. That she, out of her poverty, has put in everything she had. All that she had to live on. Amen.